Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anguilla. We are back. We are here today in the Britten Norman Islander from Anguilla Air Services. And I have not posted any videos lately, and the reason is I've been here in Anguilla. I was in Anguilla for about 8 days. Just got back. External power supply on. Rotating beacon on. Mixtures and props full forward. Master and battery switches on. Let's open the fuel valves. Fuel pumps coming on. Magnetos on left. And I've discovered that I cannot turn these things off in the aircraft config file, so just have to keep doing that. Alright, let's crack the throttles, take a look outside, see if there's anybody out there to kill or maim. There is not. Get the right engine started first. Oil pressure is good, left prop is clear. Good start. Oil pressure is good. Magnetos to both. Fuel pumps off. Let's close the starter cover. Lean the mixtures for taxi. Avionics master coming on. Bring the manifold pressure back just a little bit. We are in the very latest iteration of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is now 1.38.14. And let's see, I'm going to take a guess at the QNH here. Let's get this going. This does not work. That going. CDI to GPS. There's nobody on VATSIM, so we can kill. So we can put 122.8. Alright, let's see. TQPF. Let's see if we can get a altimeter setting here. Alright. Transponder squawk altitude. Alright, information. Weather 1015. Let's see how close we came with our guess. Yeah, pretty much. I still think 1016 is a bit closer. Alright, mixtures are lean for taxi. Let's turn the external power supply off. I find it annoying that they always remove the co-pilot's yoke. Alright, let's engage the tow brakes. Release the parking brake. 122.8, good to go. Alright, let's release the brakes. And as soon as you get rolling, tap those toe brakes, make sure they're working. Things are looking a little sparse around here, if you hadn't noticed. So I have finally given in and just removed the ground vehicles rather than drive head on into them all the time. You know, it's been 2 years, over 2 years, and clearly they are not gonna get fixed in any way, so. still have the chocks on or something. Alright, let's put it in notch. Takeoff flaps. So, 138.14, this is the new latest iteration of the beta. And the purpose of our flight today, aside from this, is I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a conversation I had with a friend of mine who flies Islanders in Anguilla. His name and employer shall remain private to protect the innocent. But we had a really interesting conversation about something that I thought was unrealistic in the sim, and as it turns out, it's completely realistic. And alright, so let's go fuel pumps on. Mixtures are rich. Nav lights on, landing lights on. Anguilla traffic, Anguilla 264, departing runway 11, right crosswind departure to the south, Anguilla. Alright, tell you about that once we get airborne here. So, heading indicator checks with the runway number. Flaps are set, fuel pumps on, mixtures and props full forward, takeoff power is coming in. Takeoff power is set, engine instruments are in the green, airspeed is coming alive, accelerating normally. 70 knots, and rotate. Pitch for about 90 knots here. Quick look outside. There is our beautiful Anguilla. Alright, bring those flaps up. Start our right hand turn here. Props back to 25, manifold pressure back to 25. And off we go. What was that? Alright. 1,000 feet AGL. Turn our fuel pumps off. Check our fuel pressures. Fuel pressures are looking good. And alright, 50 feet below our cruise altitude. Let's bring the props back to about 23. Bring the power back, manifold pressure back to 23. And let's get ourselves settled in here. Alright. Apply a gross trim application here. Just trying to get the plane relatively level. Often easier said than done, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Alright, adjust the props a little bit. Otherwise, looking pretty good. Sorry for the jumping around there. Track IR. So there we go. Doing pretty good out there. So, wanted to check out this latest version of the beta. I also did some random, something I never do. You get all these random tips like online about, yeah, change this, it'll change this setting, it'll, like, you know, revolutionize your flight sim experience and blah blah blah. And I usually ignore them because there's so many variables on your situation, your your computer setup and your drivers and blah blah blah. But I've been having these really, I've been messing with the NVIDIA filters, trying to get a setup that I like, and I just can't seem to really do it. And then I saw this one thing about it. One of the problems is there's no descriptions of like what all the settings are. Like, I don't know what gamma is. I can sort of look at it and adjust it and see what I like better and what I don't like better. But it would be nice to be able to read through like all the settings and know what they are. But anyway, I saw this one thing about getting that if you change was supposed to get rid of all like the washed out white, you know, colors, and it seems to have worked. Anyway, I really rather like the way this looks right now, but so back to what I was going to tell you about. I have a friend who flies Islanders in Anguilla, and one of the things that, like, there's something that happens quite often in the sim when you're flying the St. Barts, which I always found quite irritating and thought it was indicative of, or basically proof that the flight physics in the sim are no good. And I call it the St. Barts shove. And what it is like when you're coming in to the V in, you know, on short final in St. Barts, a lot of times you get this situation where the tail of the airplane gets lifted up and the airplane just gets shoved forward. And so you've got like a perfect sight picture, everything looking good on speed, on glide path, and you're feeling good about things. And then you get right down into that slot there on very short final, that like at the top of that hill, and the tail gets picked up and you're just like hurtled forward. And I always thought it was really irritating and complete nonsense, etc., etc. So I'm talking to this buddy of mine, and there was an accident in St. Barts, I'm sure you guys saw a couple weeks ago. We were talking about that, and then, you know, kind of naturally progressed from there to talking about landing at St. Barts and, you know, kind of some of his stories of doing that. And, you know, he's had some wacky experiences going in there, because it's just, you know, the winds can be crazy. And he's had situations where he's gone full left lock on the yoke, you know, and just right over to a full right lock on the yoke, and just the airplane going like wingtip to wingtip. I'm sure it wasn't actually like that, but it felt like that, I'm sure. But anyway, so he's talking about all these kind of weird things. I should make a radio call here. St. Barts traffic, Anguilla 264, 10 miles to the northwest, inbound runway 10, St. Barts. And then he tells me about, so there's different weight configurations have an impact on which runway he'll land on, and whether he'll come in high and fast or whether he'll come in low and slow. You know, if he's got cargo, he's generally got like 1,000 pounds of cargo in the back, which is a much different deal than when he's got 5 passengers for example. And anyway, and then he says one of the other things is that if the wind is kind of coming out of 110, 120 in there, and you get into that slot. He said what can happen is the tail gets lifted up and you get pushed forward. St. Bart's traffic, Anguilla 264, Forche inbound, runway 10, St. Bart's. Which is exactly what I experienced in the sim and what I thought wasn't right. And here I have like a very experienced Islander pilot without any prompting from me describing this exact thing to me, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I didn't even say anything to him. I wasn't like, hey, that's how it feels in the sim. And he knows I'm a pilot. Like I have my pilot certificate and everything. But I mean, come on, this guy's like, multi-thousand hour. Let's go fuel pumps on. Multi-thousand hour, commercial pilot. I'm not in the same league as this guy, and so I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I feel in the sim. How about that? I kind of feel like a clown saying that. But anyway, so what he described is exactly what happens. I'm gonna go props full forward here. I want to get to Sugarloaf at 80 knots and configured to land. At 1,500 feet. St. Bart's traffic, Anguilla 264, Sugarloaf inbound, runway 10, St. Bart's. And there we are. Wind is, let's see, 040 at 12. So it's definitely coming from my left here. So basically the thing that I thought was an indication that the sim was unrealistic is actually an indication that the sim's flight physics are spot on. So I was really kind of impressed with that. A little more power. Alright, fuel pumps are on. Make sure some props full forward, flaps are set. St. Bart's traffic, Anguilla 264, short final 10, St. Bart's. Feel that left crosswind coming in there. Power out. Gotta let that nose drop, and then you're gonna pick up some airspeed. Now it's really starting to come up, so power is coming out. And there you go. There's a little bit of a shove there, not really. And that was pretty terrible landing. But it's just a really interesting conversation, and wanted to share it with you guys. And St. Bart's traffic, Anguilla 264, back taxiing full length, St. Bart's. And I just thought it was really interesting. A lot of things that I don't really, certainly never really put much thought into. I mean, I do think a little bit about weight for sure. and you know what impact that has on performance, but not as much as he really emphasized. I mean, he told me that, you know, the loading really has an impact on how the plane performs and which approach he'll use, 1.0 or 2.8, and I just thought it was a really interesting conversation, and it completely reversed my opinion on what I thought was bad flight physics and turns out to be really good flight physics. So, St. Bart's traffic, Anguilla 264, clear of runway 10, St. Bart's. So now let's put the flaps up, fuel pumps off, lean the mixtures for taxi. I can turn my landing lights off now. And yeah, so I also turned off, like I said, turned off all of the ground vehicles and the ground traffic because it was just poor, and I just got tired of dodging buses and, you know, various other ground vehicles. The other thing I'll tell you that I've noticed about this, now the 4th beta release, is that this is the first one where I haven't had any stutters. Alright, brakes, mixtures to idle, cut off, throttles are idle. Set the parking brake, turn the lights off, avionics master off before you turn the mags off. Battery master and battery switches off. Open the doors. Let's check everything one more time. Looking pretty good. So thumbs up to this version of the beta. I hope my little story there is of use in terms of flight physics, and I hope you guys are doing well.